Excuse me, sir. You there? Would you like to game? Then game we shall.
Say hello to the Dot Doctor.
What's up, guys? This is a build I've been working on for a while now, past few days. I apologize I haven't been putting any videos out lately. I've been pretty busy with work, and I just got the time finally to sit down and kind of relax and do this video for you guys. So I'm really excited about this. I basically decided to do this build because I found this helmet here. This helmet is pretty awesome. It allows your Locust Storm and Haunt spells to do their damage in half of the normal duration. So your Locust Storm does damage over 8 seconds. It now does that damage over 4 seconds. Your Haunt does damage over 6 seconds. It now does that damage over 3 seconds. So it's really, really nice. It makes your dots just do a huge amount of rapid damage. And it's probably not as much damage directly as my Spirit Barrage build, but the AoE damage is really nice, and the survivability with this build is just extraordinary. I was really, really amazed. I'm using the Consuming Spirit passive, which gives you life per second whenever you use a Haunt on an enemy, and that can be cast on multiple enemies. Now, I know the mana cost is 200, but really, if you do it right, you can manage your mana pretty well, and it's not that hard to do. And I'll show you the passives and stuff here in a minute. Anyways, guys, I'm pretty much using anything that boosts Locust Storm and or poison damage, and has really high intelligence, and really, really high just damage, period. Like I said, this build does not focus on critical hit chance or critical hit damage at all. It focuses primarily on attack speed and just as much damage as possible. So what I did here is I took a red gem and put it into my weapon as opposed to a critical hit gem, because critical hits do not matter at all with this build. It's all purely based off damage, weapon damage, and your dots can't crit, so there's no point in using anything like that. I went ahead and kept the Stone of Jordan for the cold % damage, since Haunt is a cold spell, and then it does damage against elites, which is really nice. But as of everything else, it's just pretty much anything that I can find that's poison bonus damage or damage against elites. I don't have everything that I want for this build, but I got a lot of good, decent stuff, so I figured I'd try it out. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get right into the build. Now, there's a few different things you can do here. Some things you can switch out if you want, some things you don't have to. I was running 2 different types of builds with this. I was using Grasp for the Dead sometimes just for the CC, and sometimes I'd use it for the zombie dogs and the health globes, things like that, or the extra damage or the extra slow, just trying it out, and it works great. It's not that it's bad at all. The only downside to that is that Grasp of the Dead is actually a physical spell. So unfortunately, it does not benefit at all from any of your bonus poison damage. So I've been testing the Acid Cloud, and it's pretty nice. I like it pretty good as well in its spot. But anyways, guys, on my left click, I'm using Plague of Toads with Rain of Toads. This thing is, for this build, it's awesome. It's essentially a dot for 2 seconds, and it's spammable. You can just spam it really, really fast, and using it with Vision Quest is really nice for the mana regeneration. So I like using that on my left click. On my right click, I'm using Locust Storm with Pestilence currently. You could easily switch this out with something else. Again, it's doing the damage in half the normal duration. So as you can see here, you can have Locust Storm Cloud of Insects, and this increases the duration for your Storm to deal 2,080% weapon damage over 16 seconds. Well, it would cut that in half and make it do it in 8 seconds. So you could simply do something like that. It's really strong. I like it. It's more better for the single target instead of the AoE clear. But you have Searing Locust, which do fire. You have Devouring Storm for the mana if you have mana issues. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do there, so you can play around with that and adjust it better to your playstyle or your needs for your gear. On my 1 key, I'm using Spirit Walk with Honored Guests. Just really awesome, as always. Immunity to damage and CC avoid and mana return, so that's good, mana regen. On my 2 key, I'm using Soul Harvest with Vengeful Spirit. It's just a great skill, an AoE nuke, I love it. On my 3 key, I'm using Acid Cloud with Acid Rain. It's pretty much just more dot damage, so we use that, that's good, AoE dot damage. And then on my 4 key, I'm using Haunt with Consuming Spirit. This thing is awesome when it comes to fighting elite packs or any type of boss. This thing keeps you alive really well, and it does a pretty crazy amount of damage. I was actually pretty amazed how well the damage does with this, with the helm that I'm currently using. For passives, guys, I'm using Blood Ritual. For the health regen, it stacks really well with the Haunt, and it also helps manage your mana a lot better with this because you're consuming 10% of the mana cost with life. I'm using Pierce the Veil for the bonus damage to do it for all your dots. As long as you manage it right, like I said, you're not going to be eating through too much mana, so it's not that bad of a trade-off. And then my 3rd passive, I'm using Vision Quest. Every time you deal damage with Corpse Spiders, Firebomb, Plague of Toads, or Poison Dart, your mana regeneration is increased by 30% for 5 seconds. So it's pretty much a constant mana regen. You could use the Grave Injustice. The only downside to that is there's really not a whole lot of spells in this build that really are relying on cooldown reduction. So killing enemies and reducing the cooldowns on your spells is only going to benefit 2 spells in this build currently, because everything else does not have a cooldown. If you're using Grasp of the Dead as opposed to Acid Cloud, I would say that Grave Injustice is a very good possibility for this to be swapped out with, because it does return life and mana too, which is nice, but it is not entirely a necessity. So, me personally, this is what I've been running with this build. It's just crazy. What's funny is with my other Spirit Rush DPS build, my sheet DPS is like 320, 330k, but and that's without Pierce the Veil. So this build is kind of funny because it seems like you wouldn't do a lot of damage. Anyway, that is enough yapping for now, I'm sure. So let's get right into the gameplay, guys. And I'll show you what kind of damage you can do. I'm just going to do Locust by itself for now. That was actually not a Locust, my bad, that was an Acid Cloud. But you can see the Locust. The damage the Locust is doing are actually really, really strong. I mean, and that's the weaker Locust spell, that's the one that spreads rapidly. And you could actually switch this up with the Cloud of Insects. Let me go ahead and show you that real quick. Now, this one spreads a lot slower than your Pestilence. It doesn't jump twice, it jumps one at a time. But I just want you guys to see what kind of damage can be done. This is Torment 3. Jumps a little slower, but I mean, you can just see it. It's just eating these dudes up. And these guys here, and that's the thing. See, he took a little longer to kill. But the thing about that is you can easily throw a Haunt plus a Locust Swarm on him. And I'll show you that here in a second. Jump. And this isn't me trying to like full on DPS everything. But look at that damage Haunt's doing to him. Look at that. Dead. And while you're doing that, your Haunt spell is returning so much health to you. It's pretty much impossible for you to die as long as you have that Haunt up. And the thing about Haunt is you can cast it on multiple targets. It's not limited to one target at a time. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Show you guys what kind of damage you can do. So you're going to run up, throw this, Acid, and then you start frogging. Now this is where, like I was saying, you can just throw frogs and locusts. I mean, look at that. That's pretty awesome damage, just for frog and locust. And see how the attack speed really benefits you here. Now this is what I was saying though. I mean, your single target damage isn't necessarily the best, but the thing about that is you're pretty much virtually unkillable with this build. With my Spirit Barrage build, I can murder, elite packs and single targets really, really fast. But often I'm pretty vulnerable and I don't gain as much health as I do with this build. There you go, look at that. Just those 2 dots together. That's. And then here's what I was saying: you can cast this Haunt on multiple targets, if you want to. Look at that. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna try to take some damage and show you guys what kind of life you can gain with this. Here you go. I know you can see the damage I'm taking, but watch how much this heals you when you Haunt something. That was actually kind of weak. It's normally a lot stronger than that. Hold on, give me 1 second. Honestly, it normally heals you a lot more than that. Now I'll just go ahead and leave this cave. Maybe perhaps it's seems like on the beefier targets it probably does more. Yeah, there you go. That's actually not too bad. Still, I've seen it do a lot more than that, but whatever. Maybe in this video it's just being lame. I mean, this damage is just like, I don't know, it's pretty ridiculous. For a dot damage build, I mean, we all remember the dot damage builds really weren't that great back in the day. So I could easily see this transitioning into a really, really powerful, viable build in the Reaper Souls expansion. There's pants you can get that improve your damage by 25% while moving, that as well give you 25% mana regeneration. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of gear to focus around. Here we go, here's an E-Pack. There's going to be all kinds of gear, I'm sure, that to focus around, you know, dot damage, focus around pets. Look at that. I mean, he's just getting ate up. It's pretty powerful, guys. It's a really cool build. So if you guys haven't tried it out and you maybe have some gear laying around to try it, you should give it a try. It's actually pretty fun. It's really cool in groups. You can use Pestilence. It'll spread quick and just, you know, blow everything up. But like I was saying, in the expansion, they're going to release a lot of gear, it looks like, that's going to primarily focus on, you know, just more specific character design, stuff that's, you know, more oriented towards pets, dot damage, you know, so be it, whatever type of build you want to use. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to check my videos out. I really do. As always, I try to produce some content that's interesting and let you guys try some new things out. So let me know what you guys think. You know, reply. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you wanted to change something up and give me your opinion on it and why you did it. Share ideas with me back, and that's why I do this. You know, to have a good time and make friends and find out interesting things while playing. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. If you like, comment, subscribe. And if you don't mind checking out my live stream, I'm going to try to start streaming every Wednesday and every Friday. I believe the 2 days. Those are usually the 2 days I have off from work. So every Wednesday and every Friday. And, you know, on other days in between that. So anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching and have a good night.